We are?
We are.
We're back.
We're on it.
Back by most unpopular demand. Second week on the road, isn't it?
This is right in a row. Back to back.
Wow. Glad the clocks went back this weekend. I never would have made it.
Yeah, it was really helpful.
You enjoyed that? Yeah, your kid got up still early and still woke you up.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. Second week on the trot. I mean, it must mean I'm still in the country. So there we go. We've got a little haircut going on today. As promised last week, we've got something, we're calling it, well, it was a Pixie-esque haircut, wasn't it? But I like to call it, you know, the revisiting what became famous and well known back in the day as the Mia Farrow look, which is quite a short haircut. There's so many different interpretations of it, of this Pixie, modern Pixie, whatever you want to call it. Does it date from those times? I don't know. Historically, you know, they can say that, you know, this haircut was done many centuries before whoever originated it. But let's have a look at what I've got to start the day. Recession, horseshoe section, nicely all the way round, nice and balanced. That is going to be our basics to start from. And I will start from the side of the head. So making sure that is a nice angle for me to open the head up to work on effectively. Now, I'm going to do this primarily with a razor today, purely for speed. But the approach wouldn't change even if I was using scissors. And there's a couple of ways of attacking this from your first section to give you your guide. We can either work on the vertical and work in classic, what I would call more like an undercut way of just putting that forward and working in diagonal back sections all the way through the head, or I'm going to work on the horizontal. This is something I've done for years and I do like that. It just gives me a slightly different option. I'm going to work on the horizontal. Now there isn't much hair here in front of the ear, so that section is predetermined by a radial parting here just behind the ear. That would be that, so it goes to the radial going over the head. I'm going to pull that hair forward. Why do we work on a horseshoe? Why do we work on these so-called sections? You work on the horseshoe because you're working from parietal ridge. Now the easiest way to find that with your head is literally just place the comb flat and just work the comb straight back. And as you can see there, where the comb leaves the head, that will just give you your clean section and show you the appropriate where the round of the head is. Really important to understand that. So I'm going to make sure we can get this in a nice angle, and then I'll tighten that up. How's that look on camera, Magic?
I can see it.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, let's work on. She doesn't want to stay there. That's fine. I'll work with what I've got. Little horizontal section. Now I want some of this hair to actually sort of come down on the ear, and you know, we're going to work on some sort of, you know, classic graduation at this point. Let's see how that first section opens up. As always, chime in, let us know where you are, give us a hello, any questions regarding this or anything else. As per normal, Mike will tell me to shut up and tell me he's got someone who wants to have a chat. So I'm going to work on one finger's depth. Now lengthwise, obviously I'm going to be working with a razor, I'm working behind my fingers, not in the front. So there's the difference of where it changes with a pair of scissors, is that if I wanted to make this slightly shorter, I would work slightly higher up and be cutting there with scissors. I'm working with a razor behind the finger, so I'm going to work through here. One finger's depth.
Otterstop tuning in from San Diego.
Nice. What was the name?
Otterstop.
Otter?
Yep, O-T-T-E-R.
Otter.
T-O-P.
Do you like otters? Right, and then we just raise this up. And this is the haircut I was showing to someone only just a week or so ago, the beginning of it, just showing some like classic graduation. So not one from one finger's depth, I've now elevated and using the guide through here, elevate that up and just pop that off as well again. So as we go through that section, we carry on elevating, making sure that section stays nice and parallel to what we're working on.
We got Cindy Rhea from Champaign, Illinois.
Hello, Illinois. How you doing? Good to see you chiming in.
What is that razor, they would like to know?
It's called a slider. It's one that's been asked about many, many times. It really works like the conventional, any conventional razor. the blade is just one of those old-fashioned types. Okay, so it gives me at least 4 good haircuts because you switch them over and then turn them around. Been working with this for many, many years. And as you can see, look, it's just working methodically, slowly. As you can see, my graduation increases, making sure I can see that guy behind. Nothing mad as well about the razoring technique. As you can see, I'm only cutting perimeter. I'm not going through it and taking weight out of this point. And as you can see through here, we've got a nice little bit of graduation just sitting in the head. Obviously, mannequin heads do, differ slightly on how much bulk they give you in certain areas. So that will be taken into consideration. And as you can see, now I've come out and I'm working virtually, 90 off the head. It's not 90 degrees, but coming up to close to that. And that softens my weight line. The more I elevate through here, as you can see now, there really isn't a heavy weight line through here, purely because I've elevated up. Now, as we always have on mannequin heads, there is always that problematic area through here. So I will just pull that forward and just take out a little bit of that corner. That will help soften that area again through here. So there we go, that starts sitting in closer to the head rather nicely. So the hair is sitting just over the ear, just on the top, so that would poke back over. And this, if in general on a human head, you would have a longer piece of hair through here. The hairline would be slightly different. That's to give you options. You can always come in here with scissors or whatever and clean that up completely. As always, the obligatory cup of tea is on set. I'm not going to do any advertising. You've got to have your morning tea when your first haircut of the day, isn't it? So, you've got to have something to keep you going. Right, move the head around. There we go. We've opened up the back of the head already. So, that section, perpendicular to what we've got through here, pull all of that down from behind the ear in a nice diagonal section through there. Get into the practice of using some nice sectioning clips as well. That will just make sure you can see everything nicely. Let's make sure I've got that on camera. There we go. As you can see through there, look, that now mirrors the angle I'm going to be taking that. So I'm just going to move that back to me slightly. Any questions so far, apart from the razor?
That's the only one so far.
There we go. That's good. We're going to get at least over half of this head done today as well. So I might quicken up the speed after I've got through this initial section. So going back to the original, 1 finger's depth on the head, and we work straight down. And as you can see through here, a rather nice clean line. It's not overly feathered whatsoever, and that is purely down to the technique that's being utilised. Good sharp blade as well, gives you that option. It doesn't have to be heavily feathered until you actually change the application technique and start putting some wrist movement into that. But as I elevate through here, now I've come back to where we were. Elevate, elevate, elevate is the watchword. And this is going to do 2 things. It's going to create shape in the back of the head, and it's also going to debulk all of that hair that we have. And I'm working back to center in the back of the head. I'm not going to travel beyond that. And I'll show you that why in a second. Let's just get this done. As you can see, my elevation keeps increasing just like it did before. And how fast is that happening? The only difference now is that my section now transgresses into slightly more vertical when I'm working from the occipital bone into the nape of the neck. So very, very subtle change is that I've now come into this. That is going to actually debulk the hair and also follow head shape. I do that subconsciously, as I've been doing that for so long. It's just being aware of what is underneath your hair. So it's not always about what you're cutting out here. You've got to be very much in tune of what is underneath it. What is the head shape under here? Because that will then influence everything you do out here. I hope that makes sense. Any more questions on that, please ask as per normal. Okay, final section through here. elevating right out, as we said before, nearly getting to 90, but not quite. And I'm going to move this around, so you should be able to see it. As you can see my hand position change. As you see, it goes just slightly more into the vertical. See how my arm is locked in through here, creates great stability, and just works on running that hair into the back of the head. And there you can see the hair of my fingers. It's a classic bit of graduation, and the hair just following down into the nape of the neck. Okay, so we've completely changed shape of that. I'll go through the other side, just completely mirror image that. I'm going to do that one very, very quickly so we can then get into the top. Then I'm going to show you how to remove the bulk of that graduation. Let me have a look at that. Where we go, about there. So I'm going to do this much faster. Salon speed, are we calling that?
Sure. Salon
Yeah.
speed.
Back to my old life. Close to that.
Should we start the timer? See what you got?
Huh?
Should we start the timer? See what you got?
No, thank you. One thing I'm going to say, this will always be something to be aware of. So doing exactly the same as I did on the other side, radial parting just behind the ears. Okay, that creates balance. Moving that hair out of the way. Now, obviously you're seeing this in the mirror image of here because I'm on a camera. My hand position would change. Now it is much easier for this hand to actually go closer into the head with the knuckles, and your fingers, you won't be able to see this, but your fingers will come off the head. Okay, that's just a natural thing. So you do have to be very, very disciplined and keeping that hand position square. Otherwise your hand has a natural tendency to pop in that way. On the other side, you have a natural tendency for your fingers to go into the head and your hand to come away. So be aware of that. That will greatly influence your graduation. So keeping nice and square, 1 finger's depth. Let's get that off. Right, we will check quickly for balance. Change my body position to a slant, so that's the same. And I will work quickly, just increasing that graduation. As you can see, my arm stays locked. No wild feathery motions with the razor at this point.
Where can we get that razor?
You can buy them online. You just look for a slider. They come in different variations as well now. I mean, it's like anything. It's not. I don't think it's the tool. It's just how you use it. I was very, very lucky when I was in the UK that I worked under the salon I worked at. They worked primarily with this. That was their thing, to go and work on stage. And I got so used to using it, it felt like I was drawing haircuts. And so that's why it looks probably to you in your mind's eye, it looks very, very simple and very easy. But it wouldn't matter if I've got another razor in my hand, I'd be working exactly the same way with it. It's how you, so it's not the person or the tool, it's just a case of technique. Let's pull this around this way. There you go, look at that, that's much better. Now you can see the back far better. 1 finger's depth, coming right to the very top, okay, where I change the angle of approach. Always making sure I can see adequately. I hope you're enjoying this. Thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Don't give me a thumbs down, I don't want to hear about that one. It's only positive vibes today. Mike always gives me the thumbs down.
Hey, we had plenty of hearts already today, so we're definitely enjoying it. Questions being asked about that razor. So can I make an assumption here that you're going to slowly come to the vertical as you get to the center of the head again?
Get you, Mike.
I'm paying attention. More hearts flying in.
They're for you.
Hope you got a thumbs up.
And as you can see, it's doing, as I said, it's doing 2 things at once. It's removing bulk, it's creating shape, all in one. As you can see, like I'm consistent, my graduation changes, elbow keeps high. Very important to understand that. Get your elbows up, people.
Lightning bolts, it's electric.
Oh, give me that one.
Butterstock.
Thank you. Based in San Diego or surrounding area? that Otter stop?
Yeah, let me look, I can look up there.
I mean, who doesn't love an otter? Sea otters, I think, do have the most amount of actual individual hair.
Multicultural family haircuts. They are Morena Boulevard.
Nice.
And another one Imperial Ave.
And I raise the head up slightly when I'm working on this. There we go. Nope, I want that to go forward. Bear with me, people. I'll just move that mannequin stop around. There we go. Now we can see the back nice and clearly. Checking for balance through here. Very, very important. Working back to that middle. Get the elevation up. Now, when I come back onto the vertical through here, I'm going to have to make sure I change body position. And what you will end up finding with is you'll have a little triangle of hair all the way through the middle through here. And that is just going to be your extra piece of hair to take off at some point. So I'm using 7 seconds, obviously, as my cutting lotion. 7 seconds detangler. Why wouldn't I? And it does really, really help cut down on any of that nasty noise that clients associate with razor cutting. I think it's really good, but you know, a sharp blade's going to eradicate that. So, once we've got that working through, and as you can see through here, you can say you've got a really nice rounded shape on the head. Then we cross-check it, run all the hair across to the side, make sure it's all really nice and parallel. So you've now got two pieces of reference. You can now work on the middle section, pull that up, 1 finger's depth, and we work through just like we did at the very beginning, elevating as we go. And you then should start eradicating any of that little triangular section that you have left, the corner, where you've got the round of the head through here. So working through that graduation. It's such a what I call a nice technique for removing bulk, but also creating shape. Would you do this on every head of hair? No. So I might go through and doing the actual vertical undercut type way of doing it if I had hair that is really thick, or the round of the head is very, very different. You know, one haircut does not fit all. I'm now going to go into showing you how we do remove a little bit of excessive bulk from classic graduation. Because you don't want to have a huge amount of weight through here. So let's have a look at, there's my grad, okay? There is my graduation. You can see it through here. Now, that will instantly give me a corner. All I've got to do is take that corner off, where I elevate. Let me just pull that through. Let me try and get this one out of the way for you so you can see properly. You see that graduation, nice soft line, that collapses down to here. This corner, if I take that off, that will instantly round off everything I've got. So, elevate the head up just a little. And I am going to work from the centre and work around all very, very quickly, just eradicating that corner. So I elevate the hair up, okay? That's the corner I'm taking off. And I will come through here and just work very, very square on that section. So although my hand position has elevated the hair up, I actually just make sure I just cut that very, very square, and that instantly starts hugging the head shape through here straight away. It starts debulking it. Nothing else more than that. So that is rounded graduation we are putting into that. A nice little, and just be conscious you always see that little bit of corner. If it's not there, don't go for it. As you can see, the sides have got a very nice soft graduation. There's less hair coming off there. And now they're sitting in, that is sitting in, as I get out of the way, that is sitting in, you can see through here, relatively square. Obviously the mannequin head does stand out. I'm going to hit that flat with a dryer in a second. Continuing through this side, elevating up and working down square, just to eradicate that corner. Now, while we work on a horseshoe section, it allows us to create what I call, you know, happy mistakes, bit of a Bob Ross sort of vibe going on. Is you can let the hair down sometimes, and on the top there might be very, very little to cut, so we don't have to go searching for it. But always, this influences everything that sits on top of it. Now if we let that hair down and work on natural fall, natural partings, etc., we can then have a look where that sits. Right, the hair instantly wants to sit better going that way. As you can see through here, if I pull this up, hair wants to jump, letting that down, fall slightly forward. That is how I'm going to be working with this hair. Obviously this has always got nasty little kinks and bumps in the front. So how do we deal with that? How do we connect this up? Do we want to connect it? Is another way of looking at it. But this is going to be the shape that I'm generally working for on this little Mia Farrow type haircut. So I can take my guide from the side straight away and work the hair across. So let's have a look at that. Any questions so far? No. You can disconnect this if you so wish, it does not matter, but we're working on more of a traditional approach on this. So the fringe is going to be massively important. I'm following the hairline on this one as well. So from here, I am going to graduate that out. So I'm pulling the hair out from the head because I want to get a slightly softer line underneath. So I'm literally taking that side piece as my guide. It's looking opposite in the mirror to you, but I'm right-handed. So I'm traveling now with my right hand, I'm traveling across the head. So I'm going to make sure I have that stretched out to its maximum and I travel, okay? Make sure you travel. Don't stand still. Travel, travel, travel. Don't overextend the hair in your section. All right, don't pull the hair to the razor. Make sure you can travel with the razor. I hope that makes sense. As you can see, the hair's got a nice amount of tension on it, and I've already picked up the hair that is sitting over there on the other side of the recession. We come back, we just check a piece I've missed. And I'm going to carry on doing exactly the same, elevating as I go. That will always soften that front fringe. You know, I don't mind if we do excessive elevation on this point. It really doesn't. What I'm finding is that that length of the fringe is then falling away underneath. I'm not cutting that shorter. So it's a good safety net for you if you're new to using this technique. Elevate as much as you want. You won't then eradicate your baseline. All I'm doing at this moment in time is I'm just creating a stronger line in the front that I can then connect the back to the front. I'm just removing bulk now, elevating up as far as you can see, look through here. And it's that really nice smooth motion. It's not going into the hair to remove weight, it is on the perimeter. It is just what the razor is, it's just a sliding motion. It's probably what people are like at the moment is how fast it's going through. I'm not worried about pulling the hair down to natural fall on this side at the moment. All I'm worried about is the fringe, how that connects into the front. Any questions yet, Mike?
Someone just tuned in and said, nice to see you back.
Hey! Did you get the money I sent you? Who was that?
Who did you bribe last? Beautiful underscore, love your hair underscore.
Beautiful, love your hair.
Where
Nice.
are you tuning in from?
Yeah. Can't love my hair 'cause you can't see it on the camera. Right, this is something I see a lot. People trying to use a razor, is that you want to use the head shape to your advantage. So working on the top is very, very hard to do this and then start using a razor, so like that. Good camera work there, Francesco, you need that. I like to pull the head forward as much as I can. In fact, if anything, I can do it even more.
They're tuning in from Houston.
Houston, nice. Right, this is optimum angle. This allows me to get my body in the correct position, pull that hair up from the back. Okay, there's my guide back here. There's the short bit over, that crown area. I don't want to make that shorter at the moment. I don't anyway. But it gives me a great guide. I have then got a profile section running down the middle that is going to give me 2 connecting points, the fringe and the back. So I've then got the option of, when I pull this up to cut it, I can overextend the hair up at my body finger position and let this slide out just to leave a little bit of weight in the front, or I can continue working square and that will just give me even balance all the way through. So let's get at it. Working across the head, we work on pivoting our next section across, cut down the previous one. Everything you can see I can handle perfectly with my fingers. It's not too much hair. Always can see the previous section I've cut. Let's give you another view of that. I want you to see how we're pivoting around the head. We're not pulling everything up to the middle. Now here I would have a slight bit of over direction. I can change the hand position here just for the camera, and as you can see how that gets taken out. I like having a little bit of disconnection there on the sides. Swivel that round, so first section, pivots again. And as you can see, subconsciously, when I'm picking that up, that front piece falls out. It doesn't connect into the final piece. So there's going to be a little corner there in the front. At the moment, I want that. I want to keep that. I don't want to cut off every corner. It'll be way too rounded. Makes haircuts look very, very aging. The worst thing you can do is create a very rounded, what I call Lego hair on someone, which is what this is going to look like in a second when you pull it up, because I know it will. I'm going to hit this with a dryer, because I need to flatten this out now. I'm going to artificially influence what I've got left. But as you can see, we've got a very, very quick result. Super fast. So, product of choice. I could go through with some creamy paste. Now this is a volumizer, but I'm just going to use it as a controlling agent on this. Very, very small amount. This will just help me control that hair. And I'm going to make sure I've got something on that root base on that to pull that forward. And I'm going to hit this with a comb. So bear with me 2 moments while I hit this with a comb and a hairdryer. And I recommend blow drying these with a comb, and it really is just following the direction of the hair. I'm not talking just about mannequin hairs, I'm talking about when you actually do it on real people as well. It's very easy. Just use a comb left and right, left and right. You'll just get natural fall, and it cuts down the amount of blow drying time. People who generally with these haircuts, they want to blow dry them much anyway. Here we go. I'm obviously not going to do the whole head, but I want you to have a look about what we've got through here, okay? As you can see, very, very sort of impish, boyish looking haircut, which is great. We've got the basics in there, and now we can personalize it. We can then start looking at this, and this is how I think where the haircutting gets really interesting, is I can now start taking bulk out, putting textures into it, etc., feathering it. I'm going to come in and use this razor again, and this is where I'm going to change that approach. So we start looking at the front very, very quickly.
Our viewer from Houston says, I do my son's hair like that. He has curly hair. I like it to be more shaggy.
Yeah, it's a great classic shape. On understanding those classic shapes, you're never going to go wrong. So it's very much bang on trend as well, that sort of vibe, especially for curly hair right now. Very, very important. So as you see, I'm just working through this, just debulking that section. I'm doing it quite gently, okay? I'm not being crazy with it. I want to have, you know, like quite a nice softness to this. Now, I want it to be sort of still feminine looking, but not crazy. I don't want to be over textured. I want to still give it that Mia Farrow vibe from back in the day, because they weren't doing a lot of texturizing then as compared to what we do now. Same as we did before. I'm still going to elevate exactly as we did prior to the drying this off. Debulking, debulking.
We're at the 30-minute mark, just as a friendly reminder.
30 minutes in and we've already got a great result. Right. I'm going to go through some scissor action as well. Now I've got this far, just to give you some options. Now I like where this is going. And this is where I think you should spend time personalising it, looking at areas that you feel, okay, there's just a little bit too much hair through here. Be disciplined with your sections. So I'm working on a diagonal section on this one. Now, where I've got some disconnection over here to the previous one, I want to leave that because that will give me an area of interest when it's all styled out. And I think that's really important, is to understand that. You don't always want everything to blend in. It's what I call perfect imperfection. So the main area of bulk is in that part of the head in there, okay? So that's where I'm taking out some of the weight, and this will sit over the top. That's where I don't connect it. Consequently, that will make that make that hair collapse. So it's very, very important to understand that, is that this hair, if it hasn't got this hair supporting it, will drop, okay? It will collapse over the top of it. If this was all connected in graduation, it's going to carry on forcing that out, and it's going to make that look bulkier. So I don't want to get rid of it. So there was the method of my madness. When I was layering it on the top, I've already started working on a sort of subconscious level, thinking, well, I won't want to get rid of that just right away because I actually want to utilize it. This hair behind here, sitting up, I'm going to just pull this off. This hair on the parting is always, or the natural part, I always like to come in here and just take some extra bit of weight out of that. And that is really cool in making that just jump a touch. Nothing crazy, but just a touch. And I want to show you that now through here. You can see through that of how that, just look at that section through here, how that is changing. Short hair will support long. The short hair through here is going to push all that hair forward, and we're going to work that around the head. So I could come through here, take more weight out of this, and this will push the hair over this way to accentuate that shape. Now let's get some scissors going. Dive into the scissor bag. Let's come back in here.
Same viewer at Houston. My son is 11 years old. My last picture with you, Gary, was when I was pregnant, using Unite for 17 years now.
Hold on, say that one again.
So their son is 11 years old, and my last picture with you was when I was pregnant, using Unite for 17 years.
Wow. I know. Well, I've been over it just over 12 years, so that's at the beginning of when I was
Right away, really. Yeah.
running around, when we must have gone and visited Houston. What salon was that in?
They're laughing and said, yes, thumbs up.
We haven't aged a day.
And Nared's tuning in. Hey, Nared.
About time. Glad he's out of bed.
You gotta get those kids to school, bud.
They're home now. It's too late in the day. He's now feeding them.
The picture was in Dallas at a hair show.
Dallas Hair Show? Was that like an exposed event? It must have been like an exposed event when I went there, maybe. So that. Wow.
6:30 p.m. Nared, I'm only concerned what time it is where I'm standing, but.
As you can see, now I'm channel cutting the hair. So I'm working with the apex of the blade through here. I'm coming just off root base and I'm working through roughly mid-length of the hair through that. Okay. These mannequin heads have got so much hair in, you know, it's quite hard not to take too much hair out, but you still have to do that with, I say, precision and thought. Just don't go crazy in there and just start point cutting. You know, if you're going to point cut, have some rhyme and reason behind it. So I'm coming in very much directly on the 90 with the hair and influence it. So I'm coming down to midsection. I'd like to see that picture where we were 12 years ago, because I can't remember being in Dallas. I remember going to salons in Dallas. I don't remember doing a hair show there. Maybe was it in a salon? Was it an in-salon class and show, whatever? It's such a long time ago now.
If you have it, post it to a story, tag
Yeah,
it to TV,
let me have a laugh. Did I have a beard then? So I can continue working through this. Another nice way of adding what I call more of an aggressive texture, and that is going to be especially relevant because there's so much bulk in here. Taking away that fringe section, you can always come in, twist the actual sections through here, and we're going to just back cut that slightly, okay? Just like you do teasing. Don't cut all the hair off, please. And that will create some really cool texture as well. I'm not going to fight the hair on this. The hair wants to go both ways into the center of the head. So if it does, let's go with it.
It was a hotel. What's Gary's Instagram? I will tag you all.
You don't know what my Instagram is? Well, get out of here. Come on.
You have too many of them. Which one?
If you haven't been stalking me for that long, then I can't give it away. Send it to Unite Hair TV. You'll find me on there. Don't you worry. What's our next live, by the way, anyway? Booster breakdown. Is that the booster range?
Must be. That's with Ali.
That is with Ali. Ali, the one with the fabulous filters.
That's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now on Monday, November 17th. Hold on a second. Oh, that's the week after Nared's been in town.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a fun week next week with Nared out. Yeah.
He arrives next week?
Yes.
Is it next week? Yeah, I suppose it is because we are November. Wow. Nared, it's November and it's still been 24, 25 degrees Celsius over here, just so you know. Hasn't changed much. I keep on looking for the snow reports and the ski season to start. Is she looking pixie-ish? A little bit impish, a little bit boyish. I mean, the whole vibe of it was they were a little sort of like semi-boyish looking haircuts. But look at some of those old films. There's a couple of really great old Italian actresses and French that have got these little boyish haircuts. But they've been, you know, they had a little bit of feminine twist to them. I watched my mum used to do this on an old client of hers, and she used to razor cut it all. She was way more aggressive than I was in how she cut hair. That's why I stopped her cutting my hair when I was old enough. I'd be like, nope, you're not cutting hair anymore, I'm going to cut it myself. So, yeah, she was lethal, absolutely lethal. Right, let's just run a dry through that quickly on cold air. Right, product of choice. I'm going to hit it with some second day. I could use some conundrum if I so wish, but let me try some second day first, because I don't want to add either too much texture to this. I really want to show the haircut doing it all. So fingertips. Any other questions, Mike? No?
Houston weather is 24 Celsius.
Yeah, well, Texas, that part especially doesn't change much either, does it? So there we go. Look at this. Oh wow, I've even surprised myself. We have now got classic Pixie, as we can see through hair. As we can see through hair, we've gone posh all of a sudden. There wasn't a huge amount of thinning out done on this, not a huge amount of texturizing. It really was, I wanted to get that sort of like late 50s, early 60s vibe for short hair. It really was that front piece through that.
Audience approves. So huge.
Simple, simple, simple. So the approach, let's recap what we did there. We worked on parietal ridge. We've done a horseshoe section. Okay. On that horseshoe section, we then worked on horizontal sections, doing a very soft graduation, elevating up as we went. I went elevated quite high. That will create softness on the weight line. Okay, if you always pull the hair down hard and cut to the same level, you're going to create a harder weight line. We then looked at elevating that hair up, taking out that corner, which we call rounded graduation. After that, we showed a way of connecting the back to the front on the guidelines. So we already had our length cut on the fringe by taking the sides as our guide. We showed you where the head position was to do that, how to let hair drop away in the front to relieve some length and to add areas of interest, and disconnected the sides so they would help collapse those sides through the rest of the haircut. After that, we've done what we call bespoking, personalising it, showing you product choice. We used 2 creamy paste and second day to control the hair. Hope you enjoyed that. Tune in to Ali next time on Monday 17th, 10 AM for the big booster breakdown. She will look a lot better on camera than I do. She uses a wonderful filter. I'm very, very jealous. Anyway, until always, next time, see you there.